Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So Monster High has finally decided to grace us with stock photos for their upcoming Skullector, Shorty the Clown from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I'm here to give you all of my thoughts and opinions on said photos. Of course, these are just my thoughts and opinions. If you think that everything I say is completely wrong, you can let me know in the comments. Just try not to be a complete ass about it. I also need to rant very briefly. The reason I said finally got stock photos for this doll is because as of time of me recording this, it is Wednesday, May 13th, aka the same day this video is going out, aka the same day that we got the stock photos, and this doll comes out on Friday, May 15th. That is 2 days. And I'm just upset about this for a few reasons. Back in the earlier days of Skullectors, it was pretty common for Monster High to drop images and be like, hey, this is coming out tomorrow, this is coming out 2 days from now. Or in the most infamous case with Chucky and Tiffany, they literally were like, hey, this is coming out in half an hour. And I just don't think it's a good business practice in terms of being fair to your customers because one, I think that people should have more than 2 days to look at a doll that in this case cost around $70 and decide if that is worth it and decide if they want to spend their money on that doll. And two, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. Don't know if you got that memo, Mattel. The economy is not great right now and people are struggling. And so a lot of people need like a little bit more notice to even have funds to get a doll or to potentially get a doll. Sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm like genuinely aggravated about this. Yeah, so for some reason they were like, hey, instead of, giving you a week notice like they had sort of been making standard, like generally speaking, I feel like we've been getting pictures on like a Monday and then it's like, hey, Friday, this is going to come out, which is a better time frame. I still don't think it's like 100% solving the issue because again, if people are living paycheck to paycheck, aren't going to have like excess money until their next paycheck, that's cutting it very close, but at least a week gives you more time to think about if you want a doll. I don't understand why they're going back with this release to, hey, this is happening in 2 days. I think that's asinine, and I hope they don't continue to do it. But I've ranted enough about that. Let's actually look at the doll. Bam, there she is. And I do know that this is a lot. And hot take, I'm gonna spend some time defending this doll. So, I have never seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I know, huge shocker to anyone who's been here before. If you haven't been here before, I have seen like almost none of the media that Skullectors reference because I'm not really a horror fan. I do understand that Killer Clowns from Outer Space is much more campy than like actually scary. Like, at least from what I've gleaned hearing people talk about it, it seems as though it's much more a silly, goofy type of horror movie than something that is actually extremely frightening. I still have no intention of seeing it. Sorry, nothing against the movie. I'm just not really like a huge movie person. However, I'm bringing that up, one, to let y'all know that I won't know any of the references that this doll is making, so don't yell at me for not understanding any references. But two, because even without understanding any references, and even without ever having seen the film, I feel like I understand what this doll is trying to do more than some of y'all do out there. And yes, I know I'm feeling sassy and mean today, okay? So sorry if I'm a little extra aggressive, but I'm seeing so many people on Instagram being like, oh my God, this doll is so ugly. They're way too colorful. This is way too much. It's too kitschy. Like, ew, she's so ugly. And there are elements that I don't like. There are things that I like more than others. I'm not saying that I think this is like the perfect doll ever, but I am saying that one Google search tells me that this does fit the vibe for the movie. The movie looks silly and goofy and not really that serious and weird and kitschy and definitely colorful. So I don't know why some of y'all seem to be expecting like Miss Elegant Princess Clown. Like I literally have no idea what is going on there. I would understand the critique if, for example, Monster High was like, hey, we're going to do a doll where we reimagine Morticia Addams as a clown. I don't know why I said that. I know that that's a ridiculous statement. I just go with it for the example. Then I would be upset if we got something like this because Morticia Addams, is much more like elegant and clean lines and very minimal color, mostly black. Like that would make sense to be upset about because this wouldn't fit the vibe at all. However, for Shorty the Clown from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, bright, colorful, silly, goofy movie, yes, this does fit the vibe. I might, again, not even know all the references. There could be references that don't make sense. I'm talking purely vibes. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's too colorful. She's too weird. And I'm like, is that not the film? Whatever. Sorry. I don't know why that like made me so upset. It's so silly that it like aggravated me so much because it's not even as though I have a connection or care for the movie. I just thought it was dumb. Sorry. I just think that that was like a dumb thing for people to be complaining about. Anyway, though, moving on to her actual overall appearance, we do have some more detailed photos, so like we'll be looking at those too. But just to give an overview, immediately switching up from defending this doll to hating on her. What the are we doing with this troll hair nonsense? Thank you, Reese. Even she agrees. She's like, yeah, that's so stupid. I just, surely there was a better way to do whatever we were trying to do here. Like, it just looks a little bit ridiculous. Like, that part I do agree. I think the rest of the doll looks a little silly, goofy, campy, colorful, fun in like a Monster High way, right? I do think that the tuft of hair at the top is pretty awful. So I will give you that. But the outfit overall, I think, is actually quite cute. There is the plastic collar and then the top and bottom set that do match. I know a lot of people hate pleather. I don't know. Personally, I don't really care. Like, I understand it's a longevity issue. I don't know. I just don't care. I'm sorry. If it looks good, it looks good, and I just don't care. For me, I do sort of like the pleather just because it's a really odd material to use, especially for these pants. Like the poof of the pants with the pleather is extremely strange. And on any other doll, I think it would bother me, but on this one, I'm like, okay, that I feel like that almost makes sense. I also really love the silhouette of the pants where they poof to the knee, and then there's a second different poof from the knee down to like where it meets the shoe. I don't know. I just think that that is pretty fun. So my initial reactions to the doll are, whoa, my God, that's a lot, but it does kind of make sense. I think that the outfit is bizarre, but again, kind of works for this particular like design for me personally. But the hair needed a rework. What are we doing on that? But let's look at more pictures. So here is a closer up of the doll's like torso of looking at the face. I think this is a really, really excellent clown face. Again, not even like knowing these clowns in particular. I just think this is super fun. The lack of eyebrows, but then like that blue eyeshadow almost functions as an eyebrow. The almost elongated teardrop shaped eyelashes, of course, the big red rosy cheeks and the red clown nose, all the teeth painted on the lips. Like, I think this face is genuinely excellent. We can also get a clearer view of her accessories, including the like popcorn wrap for her hideous tuft of hair. While I hate the tuft, I do think that the popcorn band is like kind of fun. It matches the popcorn belt with the star on it. I cannot tell what her left earring is. That feels like something that maybe is a reference that I just simply can't understand. So I'm going to give her a pass for that one. The cherry is cute. This accessory, the drink with the silly straw that spells out Shorty, that's obscenely cute. That is just so, so precious an accessory for a Skullector, especially because like a lot of the Skullectors there for a while weren't getting any accessories. I love that we're starting to see Skullectors get accessories at all again. And then this one in particular, I think is just absolutely killer. Like a custom silly straw is so cool. I'm absolutely obsessed with that. We can also see in this picture that this is a different hand sculpt. Like the fingers are kind of, the best way I can put it is like thick and knobbly. And I know that that sounds bad. Like that sounds like an insult, but I'm just saying like it is a different hand sculpt, which I do think is cool to get to see. I also really want to highlight here that this image alone really encapsulates another thing that I like to praise about the stall, which is that I think all of the accessories that need to be painted are painted. The only unpainted, like completely just cast in a single color accessories that are on here are the one earring that's a cherry, which obviously you could have painted like the stem of the cherry a different color. I think that the cherry reads perfectly fine just being red. And then the popcorn, like hair wrap thing, which yeah, like that makes perfect sense for it to all be one color. Every other accessory has at least some painted detail on it, which I really love to see. And again, is not something that we've seen from a lot of other Skullectors. Like there have been so many Skullectors that have just masses of unpainted plastic on them. The other earring, again, while I personally can't tell what this is because I'm assuming it's from my lack of knowledge, there's so much painted detail on that left earring. Like there are so many colors and so many like intricate little details on there. I'm genuinely impressed. The like I don't know if this is a cup situation. I don't really know what to call that. But whatever drink that she has some painted detail, and like the silly straw is a different color than the body of the cup. So that's nice to see. The plastic piece at her neck, like the little clown ruff, has the skelettes painted red to stand out against the blue. And then even the popcorn belt with the star has the star painted green to stand out against the popcorn. And like that should be the bare minimum. I'm fully aware of that. Like I know that I'm like praising Monster High for literally the bare minimum, but considering the fact that we've gotten less than that recently, I think it's really, really nice to see that it looks like a lot of effort was put into making these accessories look a little bit more detailed. We also got this image where the doll has boxing gloves on, and when we zoom in, it does look like there's like a joint on the glove, and they look to be molded from plastic rather than like fabric or anything like that. So I think that these are a set of extra quote unquote hands that the doll comes with, where you can like switch off the more humanoid hands and then put on the boxing gloves instead. Again, so cute. That feels like an accessory to me, like an extra set of hands is, in my mind, another accessory. And this is something that they've been doing with G3, where they're giving us extra hands to serve as gloves. And I really like seeing that presumably continue into this now. I just think that that's a really nice function of removable hands. Like it's a really good way to do a glove on a doll. And I think that while I don't understand why there are boxing gloves, presumably there's a reason. And I think it's really, really cool that they made that an option for this doll where you could have the doll have hands or you could do the gloves. And then, of course, the last picture that I wanted to take a look at with you guys is the shoes, because would this be a Monster High video if we aren't talking about shoes? I feel like that's certainly what they are known for better or for worse. In this case, I think that these are really fun and really weird and really, really cute. So the main body of the shoe, you can sort of see like where her foot is, and then the shoe is just so much bigger, particularly at the toe. It has like a very bulbous toe, and it's cast in this like sort of translucent blue, which I think is so cool because the sole and the sort of lack of heel on the shoe is a balloon animal. And so the transparency of the rest of the shoe sort of makes it also feel like a balloon to me. I don't know. I just think that the vibes are really, really good on that. Obviously, even outside of the film, clowns have an association with balloon animals. So the balloon animal, I'm just going to call them heels, even though they're technically like heelless and it's more of like the sole of the shoe. It's just way easier to call it heels. The balloon animal heels is so smart and so well executed, in my opinion, especially because there's another doll that I haven't talked about on this channel from Rainbow High who also, funnily enough, has balloon animal shoes, and they don't look nearly as good, mainly because I think that they look extremely phallic. But these actually look like balloon animals, and they're so, so well done and so cute. Again, the perfect amount of like not painted detail in this case, but like they're two different colors, so it's a little bit of something something without it being like too much or too little. And the shoes match, and they don't have like ugly, awful, just shoehorned in object heels. Like, thank you, thank you. I am so happy to see shoes that don't look like absolute ass and at least look like thought was put into them. Like, even if you don't like these, it does feel like thought was put into these shoes, unlike a lot of the object heels that we get. I'm so scared because I feel like every time I start to praise Monster High and I'm like, oh my God, they heard some of the critique, they're learning, they're giving us better stuff, they immediately drop the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. So I think that their next launch might be a little problematic. But I really do like, just conceptually, again, like not in terms of do you like this? Do you not? Like, I personally like it. I understand where other people wouldn't. But conceptually, I'm just glad that it feels like with this, they've done an object heel that makes sense, that is well incorporated into the shoe, and they're matching. So it just, I just love it. Like, you can do mismatched stuff and have it look good. Monster High doesn't usually with their object heel. So I'm just really excited to see a shoe that I'm not complaining about for once, basically. Guys, for once, I actually managed to stick to my goal of like making a reasonable length video because we are already on my final thoughts. So, final thoughts for Shorty. The hair is by far the worst part. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it. That is so just not the vibe for me personally. That being said, I can understand why some people don't like this doll and why it's not a doll for some people. It's not even a doll for me. Like, I've spent so much time praising this doll and like complimenting different aspects, but ultimately speaking, the hair is really not my vibe. And while I like the outfit, I haven't seen the film and I just like I don't think that I like the doll enough to spend $70 on her, but I definitely don't think that she's that bad. Again, like she might not be your taste. I feel like that was sort of the thesis of this video, I guess I'm discovering accidentally at the end. Like, she doesn't have to be your taste, but I think that there is a difference between a doll that you personally don't like and a doll that is bad. And I think that the doll community desperately needs to learn the difference because, respectfully, I don't know that everyone does know the difference. And it's a hard thing to understand the difference. Like, I definitely am not perfect about that, but I feel like you can look at this doll and be like, "Oh my god, say you think she's the ugliest thing ever. You're like, ew, this doll is disgusting." However, I don't even think I said this yet in the video. She's a general release at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday, May 15th. She's going to be available on Mattel Creations, but she's also going to be available on Amazon. So there's like less exclusivity, which we love to see from these collector dolls. The accessories have painted detail, almost all of them, and certainly all of the ones that need them. This is a much better conceptual shoe. Again, even if you don't like the shoe, at least there was fucking thought put into it, and it's not just like, oh, let's just shove this on the heel. There are accessories that this doll comes with. Like, I feel as though there are so many things going on with this doll that we have been begging Mattel to either introduce or reintroduce to the Skullector lineup, and I feel like people are missing that aspect because they just personally don't like the doll. And again, you don't have to like the doll, but I do think it's important to recognize the good aspects. So, despite my lack of faith, shall we say, in Mattel and Monster High's ability to continue on a good path, I really would love to see them continue doing this with Skullectors in the future. Better thought out shoes, painted accessories, more wider releases. Like, I think these are all really, really positive things. And so that's just what I'm trying to focus on outside of like the ugly hair. Like, ultimately, in my opinion, I guess, like the hair is hideous, but if we're getting all the other things in trade off, I do think that that's kind of good. And while this doll isn't a doll that I intend to add to my collection, I do like the level of quality and detail that it feels like she represents. I hope that makes sense. I don't really know. Let me know all of your opinions in the comments down below, especially if you have seen the film or like a big fan of the film. Let me know if this is vibing for you. Let me know all of the references that I didn't understand. But those are going to be my thoughts for today, y'all. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, your night, or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.